Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Ramblings from Two Meddling Kids. Sorry, I dropped my notebook.
Manliest of screams.
Oh, good heavens! There we go.
You see a Negro in your neighborhood?
Oh no!
Okay, go on.
But welcome everyone to a new episode of Ramblings from Two Meddling Kids, where we like to review movies. I am Edward Hunt, one half of the Meddling Kids, joined by my co-host
Mike Cunningham.
And we are the Meddling Kids. So thank you so much for joining us. Where we will be reviewing Knights of the Zodiac today. Ooh. Yeah, for those of you just joining us for the first time, or if you'd like a quick refresher of the rules, we will never spoil anything in the first 5 to 10 minutes. We will give you a spoiler-free review. From there, we'll give you some background about the movie, like production, actors in it, etc. And then we'll give you a play-by-play start to finish of the movie. So that's when we start spoiling. But we'll always let you know first. So, let's get started with our review. Mike, Knights of the Zodiac, sir. Saints Saya, what did you think?
1.5. I had a high expectation for this movie. I don't know why. I think I just thought it looked cool from the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I know some guy that was sitting next to us watched the extended trailer yesterday, and there was a lot more in it than I remember seeing. But no, I think going in, like from the trailers when we were researching movies to do for this month, I was kind of excited for this one. It looked like an international film, very much like a manga or an anime, and I'm only slightly into those, so it was just like I was interested to see a live action one, which I mean I can see why not too many people enjoy them outside of the core fan base. Visually, they're just they don't usually live up to the animated versions of themselves, which is definitely seen here. But I would I'm trashing the film 1.5. But I will say I did enjoy a lot of the fight choreography that wasn't heavily CGI'd. So it was just like if they weren't in some special mecha suit or something like that, I think the fight choreography, goodness, big words, was really, really good. I did enjoy that. But the story was, for the most part. The acting, I mean, was serviceable. I don't think it was terrible in any way. I didn't really enjoy the lead actor. Not for his acting, maybe just because of the character he was portraying. And I guess it seemed, the pacing was a lot faster than I thought, because when I looked up the runtime today, it was a lot longer than I perceived while I was sitting there. Even though I think maybe it did drag out a bit, but it was just like, I think the pacing, it did run really well. It ran fast, which didn't help with building character or motivations or even like really fleshing out the plot. But I mean, parts of it were fine. I think parts of it were fine. Like I said, the fighting was cool. The story was it was good to see Jean Grey again and Boromir.
Yep, gotta love Boromir.
For as long as he's allowed to be on screen. We'll get into that later. But no, yeah, 1.5. Like I had high expectations for this, and I can see why a lot of people have been comparing this to Dragon Ball Evolution, which was the
literally
live action.
exactly what I thought was Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah, which was the live action version of the Dragon Ball Z anime. So I can definitely see bits of that. I don't think the acting was as bad in that one, and they didnn't whitewash as many characters as they did in Dragon Ball. But I can definitely see why that it was getting that comparison, and the critics really didn't enjoy this one. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. Speaking of critics, I'm a critic. Oh no, I'm gonna give it a 1. Yeah, I was not a fan. I think let's talk positives, or let's give a sandwich. All right, so negative, positive, negative, or is it positive? No, it's positive, negative, positive. Anyway, positives. Yeah, there you go. Positives of it were Boromir. All right, I love me some Boromir. So Sean Bean. So with the acting, yeah, I agree with Mike that the acting itself wasn't bad or terrible across the board. There were some legitimately decent acting moments, though not from everybody.
I feel like that we're pulling that out of you. Like, the positive part of this sandwich is being it's really extracted, as if it was your Cosmos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, it was. Yes. But a lot of the characters, I think, with that, some of the acting was not good from other characters. The story kind of made sense at times, but like I didn't understand anyone's motivation for anything. It seemed like a lot of stuff got skipped around. It was a lot of the CGI I thought was kind of crappy too, especially because so the problem. So I don't want to bash all anime adaptations to live action because I like anime. I've read a lot of manga, especially. But the problem with an anime to real, to a live action adaptation is that in anime you can get away with like the kooky stuff and like the over the top action stuff. But in a live action scenario, you see that and it looks ridiculous. And then for this, a problem I had was not only does it look ridiculous, it looks like some animation from like the early 2000s at times. Like it wasn't even necessarily like good, high quality CGI, and that's not even necessarily their fault. It's the fault of like how much money they were willing to give to this project, like the producers. So I mean, because I think we'll talk background, but I think the budget was like $60 million for this.
Yeah,
So if you had
exactly.
like,
So
yeah. So I did a little. So like, if you gave it $200 million instead of $60 million, it might have looked a lot better. But it looked.
talk to recent Marvel. So
Fair. But yeah, some of the CGI was not great. I actually am going to disagree with you slightly on fight choreography because the big over-the-top actions parts that wasn't bad, but otherwise it was just like big punch, big punch, big punch.
So
And,
let me clarify the fight
sure.
scene I'm talking about. I'm talking about in the beginning, the cage
Okay.
fighting.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Anything that didn't have to do with the more fantastical elements fighting. So
Yes. Okay.
anything where they had armor on, I was like, no, no, no. But I'm
Yeah,
just talking
right.
about without armor. That's what I
Fair.
was.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Yes, I agree with you.
Mainly just a cage fight. I think is what I was thinking.
The cage fight and then Mylock's fight later.
Yeah.
Those were some decent ones, but that makes sense. But yeah, other than those two fights, anything where they were wearing armor and there was a lot of CGI, I was like, this fight choreography sucks, and I'm kind of tired of seeing like that one flying knee. But yeah, I'm. It's a one, man. I can't. I'm trying to be like now. Sandwich it with a compliment. I can't. It was a one. There's worse movies out there. A lot of times while I was watching it, I was like, "Oh God, when is this going to be over?" I never check my phone during movies at all, and I actually checked my phone to see the time for this movie at one point in time. So that was my opinion of it. So, but to close it, Mike. So should people see it in theaters?
No, no, no. This is
No.
we don't have a scale yet. I guess we'll work on it, like buy it, rent it, whatever, yada
Yeah.
yada yada. Yeah, you can wait till this goes on Crunchyroll or maybe Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and then maybe do something while you're watching it because you don't really need to sit down and watch this whole movie from start to finish.
Yeah.
It was rough. It was a little rough, and I think it's one of the worst movies that we've seen actually for the pod.
Yeah.
I prefer Thanksgiving to this.
All right. That's fine. For stuff I'm not watching again, I'd rather watch this one again.
Really? Okay. Fair, but yeah. So
I will watch Nice Tits Bitch and then cut it right on off.
nice hits. Thanksgiving. Watch it if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, so that is. Mike gave it a 1.5. I gave it a 1. We weren't very impressed. I think me even more so. I will do my best to watch my negativity as we go along to make sure I'm not just punching down. Remember, you always want to punch up in comedy, not down. But yeah. So let's get some background. So I know I said before that it had a budget of around 60 million, so I stole a bit of Mike's thunder. But what else did you find, Mike?
So yeah, Knights of the Zodiac released in May 12th, 2023. Runtime of about an hour and 52 minutes. Like I said, I didn't think it was that long until I actually had to check the runtime. Even though I will agree with you, I did find myself checking my phone. Just because I was just like, do they have time to do what they're doing? Or
I
type of
felt
thing.
every minute of this. Every minute I felt.
All right, it's just the film. Relax. The budget, like you said, was 60 million. The box office, from what I see, once again, it's only been out recently, about 4.5 million. I don't really see it recovering. I don't really see it recovering its budget. Even on a week it's kind of a weak because nothing really came out. I mean, you have the book club movie that came out. Obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy is probably going to take over this week.
Yeah.
So it came out in the perfect week where no big release was out, but I don't see it doing too well. The Rotten Tomato scores for right now is a 25 critic score and a 75 audience score. But when I was so it's funny. It's the first time I've actually looked at some of the audience scores, at least on Rotten Tomatoes,
Hmm.
some of the reviews, and it was
Yeah.
like a lot of them that I saw were 1 stars, and the ones that were 5 stars are huge fans of the manga. So it was like I didn't get to say that, but yeah, Knights of the Zodiac is based on a manga called Saints Seiya,
Saint
Seiya,
Seiya.
yeah,
I think it's Seiya.
Saint
Yeah.
Seiya. So it's just like yeah, if you're that's why I said if you're a fan of this particular property,
Hmm.
yeah, you'll probably love it. But outside of that, and I think that's what kind of sucks, right? Like, do you want to make something that's universal, like that's universal, or something specific to the fan base?
Yeah.
You kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, in a way. But yeah, so 75% Rotten Tomato score for the audience. The genre is action, adventure, drama. I guess light on the drama. They kind of force that drama in there.
Yeah.
Directed by Tomas Baginski,
Okay.
who had prior. I think he did a lot of gaming things. Let me just check right quick.
Sure.
I think yeah, a lot of gaming stuff. So like The Witcher, he did a lot of gaming intros for like The Witcher, Cyberpunk,
Okay.
and I think this is his feature film debut. Um,
Gotcha.
so I guess you can see those. I guess that translates kind of well into your video game to the big screen kind of adaptation. I guess you can kind of see it. But once again, honestly, that talking about the CGI fighting, I think the opening scene with the knights fighting
Yeah.
was better, way better than when it got into the later scenes with
Well, that's where
the
they
knights.
spent like 30 of the 60 million was on that opening
Yeah.
scene, and then they just
It's
kind of
like
ran
it's
out of
like
money.
it's like the opening scene for the Mortal Kombat movie that came out a few years
Mhm.
ago, where like that first scene with Sub Zero and Scorpion
Scorpion, yeah.
when they were in like feudal Japan or something like that.
Mhm.
That scene was amazing. That fight
Yeah.
choreography was amazing.
Yeah.
Everything it was downhill from there. So I think you're right. It's one of those things where like okay, oh even I think that was it the Sonic movie or something like that or never mind. I'm off
Yeah.
track. But anyway, the director did a lot of gaming intros, or game intros for video games, and then this is his first movie. I did actually. This is something I usually don't do either, but I looked into the writers because we did notice that a lot of the people, executive producers or anything like that, it was a lot of people from like overseas or like your international like film crew.
Yeah.
But the writers all seem to be very very white, or at least American. I'll give
Yeah.
that. And so like when I looked up what the writers said and what they were known for, two of them were known for writing 10 Cloverfield Lane. One of
Okay.
them, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Dungeons and Dragons, the 2000 one that was trash.
God, okay.
G.I.
Yeah.
Joe,
Yeah.
Retaliation, The Mummy, but
Mhm.
number three, The Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. And then the
Yeah.
last writer does a lot of animation, so Raya and the Last Dragon and
Okay.
Cars. So it's
Oh,
very
okay.
much a
Awesome.
kind of a hodgepodge of experiences or like
Mhm.
backgrounds when it came to the writing staff, and I guess you can see it there because it did
Yeah.
seem like there was so much going on in this movie, but it was just like they couldn't develop all of it in a way.
Mhm.
And then this film stars, I believe her name is Famke Jensen as Gurad. She people know her from the X-Men franchise, playing Jean Grey.
Be great.
Um,
Yeah.
we have we have Mark Dacasios as Mylock, Madison
Mhm.
Isman as Sienna, Sean Bean, aka Boromir, or
Oh man.
Neddard Stark as Alman Kiddo. We have Matt Kenyu as Seiya, Nick
Mhm.
Stahl as Cassios, Diego Tanako, sorry, as Nero,
Mhm.
and David Choruk is Jakai. I believe that's the bodyguard. I believe he didn't
Okay.
really have much to, but that'd be the
Yeah.
only person I think that they would give a name to. Sorry, not a name to, but a credit to
Mhm.
or sorry, IMDb. And the tagline was the Pegasus will rise. Sorry, Pegasus will rise,
Okay.
which
And-
fair.
But yeah.
But yeah, that is the background that I have for this film.
Yeah, fair. I'm a little bit more too. I guess with the Rotten Tomatoes, and it did make me think of this with the critic score. I mean, Knights of the Zodiac, Saint Seiya, Knights of the Zodiac. I remember that being on Toonami. I was a little young for it personally because I think it was that was like the block right before. Like I was like 4 or 5 when they were playing it, I think. So I remember seeing a couple episodes. I'm pretty sure Knights of the Zodiac is like one of Shonen Jump's, who Shonen Jump, they do a lot of manga and then which gets turned into anime. I think it was one of their most popular manga from the 80s, and definitely from like an international level. So I think that's why you get like so many people who are really into it, is because from an
Mm.
international scene in the 80s, I think Knights of the Zodiac was one of those like ones that transcended country, right? So you have a lot
Okay.
of people who really love Knights of the Zodiac. But hey, anime adaptations are hard. I'm not gonna say any differently. But yeah. So
It's
before
honestly, yeah,
we,
the only one I know outside of Dragon Ball Evolution and this one. You know they did Ghost in the Shell a few years
yep.
ago, and then I've seen like Attack on Titan ones, but not obviously America hasn't done it, like
Okay.
the overseas ones. But even those, they still have the. It's super weird. You're right about
Hmm.
the like the CGI. For
Yeah.
some reason, whatever year it is, all the CGI does seem to be like stuck in that 2006, like
Yeah.
2000, like early 2000s, like Scooby Doo, like bringing Scooby Doo to life, or something like
Right.
that.
And like it's part of one of those. And like you had Cowboy Bebop on Netflix, and we don't really need to delve into that. But like, I like because Cowboy Bebop, they tried very hard to do on the adaptation. They tried very
Hmm.
hard to do like justice to the anime. They're like, and I watched episode 1, and like a lot of that was like scene for scene almost. The problem is that kind of humor and that kind of action doesn't work as much for real
Live
life
action.
versus in an
Yeah.
anime. So,
Because it was
what are
like
you gonna
honestly,
do?
I didn't think there was anything wrong with the casting or anything like that. I feel
Mhm.
like people just didn't like how they were trying to interpret it.
Yeah, yeah, and
Well,
that's
the
also the
story.
problem too. And that's the problem too with fandom is like it's hard because there's a lot of people who love it, so you can't please everybody. Who are you going to please? But hey,
Hmm.
you're to those that liked the movie and that it was 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. More power to you. I'm not gonna yuck your yum. All right. I hope you enjoyed it.
All
Um,
right. Keep the PG here, sir. Jesus.
no, yuck your whatever. That was a thing. Whatever. From the teaching, that was a teaching thing when you disagreed. But like, hey, I'm not gonna yuck your yum, and I'm like, all right, if you like it.
Why do you sound like a
but
fucking the dad jokes? It's way too early for this. What are you doing?
Oh Lord. Okay. So yeah, before we get into our play-by-play now, a quick word from us, changing it up a little bit. Me personally, I know I've said a bunch of things randomly every now and then, but I've officially pre-launched my Kickstarter for my comic called "Evil Is a Weapon: Chainsaw Wars." Super pumped about it. If you're seeing us on YouTube or any of our social medias, I am tweeting about it and YouTubing about it and etc. So you probably will have seen it. But we officially launch on Tuesday for the campaign. I would love to have you join me. It's going to be a bloody fun adventure. Basically, kind of imagine Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Evil Dead meet Highlander, and I'm really trying to have realistic characters who are thrown into an abnormal situation and how they're going to react. So I've had a lot of fun writing it. My artist is absolutely phenomenal, and I'd love for you to check us out. And oh, on my Kickstarter too are the first 6 pages. But again, Kickstarter will launch on Tuesday, but we'll have the first 6 pages up for you to look at. So hey, give it a read. Let me know what you think, as long as it's positive, of course, because that's all I want to hear. No, but let me know what you think, and then we'll go from there. But now we're going to get into some spoilers. So let's start with our play-by-play. What's going on in this movie? How does it open? What are we seeing?
All right. So in the opening scene, we get a some narration from I assume Sienna. Now that I'm thinking about it, or maybe
Mm.
Sean Bean. But anyway, in the
Yeah, I think it was
days of
Sean Bean.
legend, it says, yeah, I was about to say it makes sense now. In the days of legend, the gods walked the earth and tormented the mortals. So there was a huge war between the gods and like the humans, basically. Like
Hmm.
I think it started out as initially as the mortals worshiping the gods, but then the gods just seeing human beings as playthings. And I think you've seen that a
Mm.
lot in a lot of like especially like Greek mythology lore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where like this boredom after a while there's a boredom with the gods and the humans. They're just like they oh actually it was just in Shazam. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
I was about to say I remember it recently, but it was like this boredom with human beings. It was just like they're just playthings. They're just pieces on a board. We eradicate them. We build it back up. We keep it moving. So like there was a war between gods and men,
Hmm.
You have Athena, obviously the goddess of. Is it love? No, she's not the goddess of love, right?
Wisdom and war. Athena is wisdom
Wisdom.
and
Boom. Got it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The two dubs.
Yeah.
But, that's easy to remember. But yeah, so you have Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war,
Hmm.
gifting certain knights, certain mortals or knights or whatever, this power of the cosmos, and them using that power of the cosmos. So it's basically, I assume, like chi. That was my
Yeah.
initial thought. But yeah, this power of the cosmos, and they use that power to protect Athena during this war between the gods. And then I think at some point, Athena is slain but reborn as a baby, and one of her knights, I believe, was the Gold Knight. Um, with his last, in his dying breath, he protected her, and then she's found and taken away and hidden until she becomes of age to I guess either restart the war or just to resurface, right? So that is our intro into the world of the Knights of the Zodiac,
And I
and
will
then we
say,
jump.
real quick, I will say for that is I do agree with your positive. This was some decent CGI and kind of like an interesting interaction going on. And it was like, okay, got it. It was very much like, without being too much with exposition, it was pretty succinctly of, yo, gods are dicks. Athena's not a dick. She likes to help humanity, but now because she was like reborn or reincarnated as a human, we gotta protect her. Bang. Okay, I'm like, cool, got it, love it. Thanks for letting me know. Now what do we get? No, now what happens? So after seeing this, I was like, hey, you know what? Okay, all right. These first like
Mhm.
5 minutes, okay, all right, let's see it.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's why I got the bump for me from the half bump for the
Mhm.
rating, because just seeing the trailer, like I think I saw a bit of this and maybe a bit of the story,
Mhm.
and I was just like, oh, I'm all in. But anyway,
Yeah.
so we jump back to present day, and we meet Seiya, and
Mhm.
he is sitting in a locker room, and he's looking at a photo, and he's remembering his some training that he had as a kid with his older sister, and like
Mhm.
she's teaching him how to fight. And I think you see a bit of their relationship, how they're very close. It seems like it's just them. I don't think they have parents, as well as like Seiya's refusal to give up. So he gets knocked down. His sister's a little bit older, a little bit better at fighting than he is, but he just refuses to quit. And I think that is something that is I think it was shown there in that intro of that flashback, and then they had
Mhm.
to exposit it for the rest of the film, and it was like, we're
Yeah,
not
they
done.
just kept
Oh,
doing
sorry,
it.
I'm not done.
Yeah.
I can't speak to the rest of the audience. It was like, I get it. He got knocked down, but he gets up again. You're never
Yeah.
gonna let me. You're never gonna keep me.
Hey, never let me
But
down. Chumbawamba. He's Chumbawamba, man. I get it. Tub thumping. Let's do it. Yeah.
exactly. But and then so he's training with his sister. You see something happens where like she's wearing some medallion, or is that
Mhm.
what would you call that medallion? I just want to.
Necklace with a fancy thing on it. We can call it a medallion. It's
We'll
a
call it a
string
medallion.
necklace, pendant. Yeah, it's a pendant necklace. We'll call it a medallion. Done.
Pendant.
Done.
Okay. Yeah. So she's wearing a medallion. Seiya goes to a young Seiya goes to like retaliate, because they're training, and some blue aura comes out of it, and then we flash back to the present.
Yeah.
And he's sitting on a bench. He's and like I said, in a locker room, and this is before he's about to get into a cage for like some underground fighting ring that he's
Yeah.
a part of. And so he walks to the he's walking to the cage. He gets stopped by Cassios, who I assume is the owner of the underground
Hmm.
ring, and he says something about him being number one. Nobody beats
Yeah.
Cassios. And then he also mentions don't dance today. Give the people a show. So I guess
Hmm.
showing that basically Seiya's fighting style is very defensive, and he's used that fighting style to win. And even I think the announcer brings it up
Yeah.
that he's used his dancing, quote unquote, to win his way to this round or
So for
whatever.
the
So
record, I think and actually we could have mentioned it. I don't know much about this dude. All I know is that the actor who plays Seiya is apparently like a superstar in Japan. But so I'm not sure if he's like a
mhm.
pop star or like a dancer star or something in Japan. But I know
he
I know
is
that much about it.
he's an actor, yeah,
He's an okay.
and a
So I think
martial
he
artist.
And a martial artist. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I was wondering if maybe that had something to do with it too, with him dancing. But okay, because you can tell like he's got moves. Like he can move around pretty well. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's in. I think he's made it to the final round of this some tournament, and he's
Hmm.
fighting the champion. And he starts out with this. I don't want to say it's dancing. It's just he's a very defensive fighter, right? I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. And to
Which, for the
somebody who's
record,
not, yeah,
oh,
sorry, yeah, I was gonna say for somebody who's not really big into not me, but it was like for your spectator, you want a show, or I think that's what Cassios was saying. It was just like people want a show, people want to see you get hit and stuff like that. But for like an actual fighter, like
yeah.
yeah, I love the way he's fighting. Like he doesn't that's the Floyd Mayweather method or something like
Yeah.
that. But go
I
ahead.
also think that's pretty entertaining. And also, they're like, stop dancing around. The man's doing backflips and jumping off the cage. Any spectator's gonna like that kind of fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one's gonna be watching this and be like, I'm bored. No, 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 no. That's an entertaining way of like watching a dude fight. But whatever.
Mhm. But yeah, so at some point, as he's quote unquote dancing around the ring, I think it was. I think that's what I wanted to ask you as we were watching. It was like, if you fight somebody like that, how do you get them to? Because it was like, I think it's one of those things where like, all right, so you're dancing around the ring because this guy is being very aggressive, which means that he's probably going to tire himself out, and then that's when you jump on. And we saw that with Creed, and obviously we've talked about your
Mhm.
fighting experience prior. So it's just like, but if you find a fighter that's being very evasive, how do you
Mhm.
turn that and make it to your advantage?
All right. I would say, and this is without really like any like fast dudes
This
are
is the
annoying.
quick thing I know I threw it on you. I just want to.
Yeah. No,
I was
that's
just
fine. That's fine.
curious.
I would say in a situation like this where it's actually like mixed martial arts and you have multiple options to do, I would just focus on doing my best to grab the person and just kind of try and drag them down. Like even if they're being super fast, I'm like, cool, you're dodging stuff, just kind of like. And I've done this before in like some of the sparring matches. It's just like, okay, you're fast. I'm gonna have to take a couple hits, but I'm gonna try and get in and grab. And then if I can get hands on you, and if I can get hands on you, and if I can get on top of you, well then great, right? Because then all of a sudden all that speed don't matter anymore. But that's a whole. But that's why a lot of these fast fighters can still, while they're dancing around and doing stuff, they're beating the
Mhm.
crap out of people because. If you're slower, well, then good luck even catching them in the first place. But also, yeah. So I would
Yeah.
say that's probably your best bet. Yeah, from that
Okay, that's why I was
this.
curious because I was just like, because I think that's one thing I do love about fighting or just sports in general. It is that constantly adapting to situations, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
you train one way, but
Mhm.
you don't know what you're going to experience in that moment. So that's why I
Yeah.
was just curious. But anyway,
Yeah. Well, also two things. One, like, so I guess especially because I'm mainly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now, especially where it's not a lot of strikes. But that's why like you just try and like grab and hold and keep it on. Though I will also say I'm a heavyweight. So compared with other heavyweights, I actually have some decent speed. I'm not the fastest, but like I'm not super slow. So I haven't really run into a lot of situations like that either. But yeah.
okay. But anyway,
Yeah.
so during while Seiya is fighting, he takes a jab at Cassius, who's like standing on a platform above the cage, smoking a cigar,
Mhm.
and he kicks the cigar out of Cassius's hand. And so
Yeah.
Cassius is like, "Oh no, fuck that!" So he
Yeah.
jumps into the ring to fight Seiya. And this is what I was saying about the fight choreography. It was one, it was just
Mhm.
great, but I guess now it
Yeah.
makes sense that the actor that played Seiya is a martial artist. So it's very
Mhm.
much like a Donnie Yen or the guy from The Raid and stuff like that, or a Tony Jaa, where like that martial arts is their background. This acting thing comes secondary.
Yeah.
But so we get a fight. Cassius knocks out the champion so
Mhm.
that he could fight Seiya. And we get like an actual fight where like Cassius is very much he knows that Seiya's gonna dance, but he negates all that and is still landing hits and like throwing him around and stuff like that. But he gets one hit on him, and you see that he's wearing the medallion that his sister was wearing. And as he goes to hit
Mhm.
him, the medallion activates, and you see these great wings come out, and like these blue wings, these are like the same kind of aura expand from Seiya as he's about to hit the
Mhm.
ground, and there's just a great force that pushes Cassius to the wall as Seiya lands, and then like
So you're saying Seiya cheated?
Seiya's, say it again.
So you're saying Seiya cheated in this fight? That's not allowed. You can't use powers in a cage
They
fight.
did say there were no rules. I mean, they were
I
super
mean,
super big on no rules.
you can say no
But yeah,
rules, but
so
that's powers.
So as Cassius wakes up, Seiya wakes up as well. They're still in the cage. Seiya jumps out of the cage and just runs, and
Yeah.
he runs to the locker room. He gathers his things, and he's approached by a guy. I guess that's Jakai, and he says that gather your things and meet me outside. And Seiya's like, man, I'm not really into that. I gotta go, type of thing. He was like, there's someone you need to meet in the alley. And as he's saying this, Cassius gets a call saying, I think we found the guy you're looking for.
Yeah.
So Cassius runs. I guess he's the manager of the underground fighting ring, but there's definitely an owner above him. So he calls the owner saying that I think you found the guy. I think we found the guy that you're looking for.
Yeah. So, which
And
I guess they might expand on this a little bit later, but this is where the thing. It's like I guess this fighting ring is also used as a way to find people with Cosmos, right, or something.
I think it's a recruiting. It's like fucking the Ninja Turtles. Remember in the Ninja Turtles when like
Yeah.
homeboy went to because they were recruiting the it's not the putties, but I can't remember the name of the foot. They were recruiting
Okay.
the
Yeah.
foot
Yeah.
members using like the fighting thing. So it's something like that where they're using this underground fighting ring to recruit
Yeah.
like new members for this army.
Hmm.
But anyway, so Seiya goes out into the alley and he meets Sean Bean's character Sean Bean's character named Almond Kiddo, and he's saying that
Hmm.
your display out there is definitely now there's a target on your back. My ex-wife is going to be looking for you, and then he mentions that. Almond mentions that he knows that Seiya is searching for his sister,
Hmm.
and then that really
Which
sparks something.
Yeah, but and
Go
I will say that raises the important question, right? So like right now going on in this movie is will Sean Bean die, right? Because we just see Sean Bean's here now,
I said his name
and
in the casting, so we know it already started the clock.
yeah, no, I'm just saying yes, but like that's like 'cause I didn't know he was going to be in this movie, but then as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's Sean Bean. Wait, is he going to die? Literally, that's exactly
Exactly.
who
You
it was.
started the clock as soon as you saw him. He was like, and
Yeah,
go.
I'm like, man, it's happening. All right. Yeah.
But yeah, so he like Allman mentions that his ex-wife is going to be looking for Seiya because obviously he possesses a special power, and they need to get out of there.
Mhm.
And Seiya's a little bit indignant and not wanting to go, but then you see the warriors sent by Allman's ex-wife, whose name is Garad.
Garud.
Um,
Oh, Garad. Yeah.
sorry, say it again. Yeah.
I was
It's
saying yeah, Garad. Yeah, yeah.
Guraad. So I assume Garad. But yeah, so you see her warriors. She sent her warriors to collect Seiya. So they start running, and this is the funniest part to me. So you have the bodyguard that told Seiya that Allman was looking for him in the alley, and then
Yeah.
Allman and Seiya run when the warriors arrive to collect Seiya, and the bodyguard stays behind to protect him. And before this man could crack his knuckles, knocked the fuck out. I was like, "You are fired, sir."
Immediately.
Fired.
Yeah,
He didn't
ridiculous.
get to do anything cool. He got knocked the fuck out.
Out immediately, and that was ridiculous. Like, but I will say, so there's like a technique in like storytelling and whatnot, where what you do is you have a character who looks strong or does something strong, and then you have that character get beat by a bad guy because what happens is that shows how tough the bad guys are. But the only
Yeah,
problem is we haven't seen this dude do anything. Like, so it was
yeah.
hysterical. Like, that was like the issue with it. Is like this
I didn't
man
know
has
he was that
done nothing.
tall.
Exactly right. This man has done nothing. So the fact that he just got his ass beat like that, the only thing it does is make me think that's fucking ridiculous. What was the point of this, right? But if we had
Mhm.
seen him fight a few times first,
Yeah,
cool.
but yeah, if
Okay,
he
that would have
handled
been
them on his
awesome.
own and then later on, yeah, fine. But anyway, so
Exactly. Yeah.
Allman and Seiya run, and then they are assisted. You see another one of Allman's guys, Mylock, has a fucking rifle, and he's
Hmm.
shooting at the guards to try to stop them. But clearly, they have armor on
Hmm.
that it really doesn't affect them. It pushes them back, but it doesn't. Like he shoots them, it pushes them back, but it doesn't really stop them. And so he realizes this. They
Yeah.
hop in a car and they get out of there. They're shot at by some. It's not a spacecraft, but it's definitely like some aircraft that's just shooting
Yeah.
shooting at them. But they escape through a tunnel. And then once they park, you see Seiya saying, "I'm not going anywhere until I get some answer." And I was like, "Bro, they are still behind you. We don't have time
I
for
know, right?
this." I think this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying I didn't like the actor. I just didn't like this character because it was like, be in the moment, dum dum. There's no time to be
Mhm.
defiant. Like, I'll die
Yeah.
it. No. Anyway, so they knock out Seiya, and he wakes as he's dreaming. He has a flashback of the night that we saw earlier when Seiya was like remembering his sister. So he
Hmm.
punches at his sister. The medallion lights up, and then they start running. So they run to whatever house they were staying in. His sister puts him in a closet and says, "Don't come out at all. Like, you have to
Hmm.
promise me you won't come out." And then as soon
Yeah.
as she closes the door, the wall explodes, and she sees somebody coming in, recognizing her medallion and taking her away, taking the
Yeah.
sister away. Sorry. And Seiya can't do anything but stay there because he did promise that he would not get out of the closet. Then he wakes up. He's on some aircraft with with Allman sitting next to him. Mylock is flying it. And then you still get this I want answers type of shit, and it was just like,
Mhm.
Relax. What you gonna do? Like, what
Yeah.
are you gonna do?
I mean,
Um,
it's a weird situation to be in all of a sudden. You know, all of a sudden you're basically kidnapped in the way. It's like, yeah, like I didn't get kidnapped by them. I got kidnapped by y'all. Okay, either way, I'm
mm,
kidnapped. So,
I
yeah,
get once again. I guess I'm just outside looking in. That's so
yeah,
I have the privilege of being on the outside. But
yeah.
anyway, so yeah, they're flying to Almond's Island, and so they land, and we get somewhat of a backstory saying that Almond, like he shows Seiya his office that has a lot of antiques uh,
Hmm.
about like Athena and the different gods. They're Greek gods, right?
Well, so
I want
that's
to
the
say,
thing with this story is like, yeah, like Athena's a Greek god, and other stuff is Greek
yeah,
mythology, and it kind of mixes up mythology. Like a lot of times, like movies like this, they just mix mythology. They just
got
hodgepodge.
it.
They're like, I want Athena, I want whatever, and they just kind of all throw it. But yeah, so it is technically Greek
But
for
anyway,
most
so
of it.
now we get the backstory that we got that as an audience got in the opening where um, Athena was reborn after the war with the gods, and she was saved by the Golden Knight, and she's been raised by the human beings of present day, and that Seiya is actually I guess, a descendant of one of the knights, and he is destined to become the Pegasus Knight, so that
Hmm.
he can protect Athena. And they give him, Almond gives him the medallion that his sister was wearing when she was captured. He
Yeah.
immediately recognizes it. Um, and then we also meet Sienna, who we learn is Almond's, adopted daughter, and who is the vessel or the child that Athena was reborn into. That will eventually, Athena will become, Sienna,
Mhm.
or opposite, no, other way. Sienna will eventually become Athena.
Yeah.
And there's
Siena's
like,
immortal. Is inside her, so there's like this weird meshing, melding thing happening. But yeah, she will be
yeah.
Athena. Yeah.
And so there's this awkward like back and forth where like Sienna doubts that Seiya is the whatever the Pegasus knight, and he
Hmm.
calls her a rich girl or something like that. And I'm just like, what's going on? What are we doing?
Right.
That is
I
not how
thought
you
a
meet
lot of
people.
it. Yeah, I thought a lot of their interactions were awkward, right? Like a lot of it
Yeah.
was very awkward. Like Sienna's
It's
character,
also, it might be one of those things where it's like there was a lot more like that they either the director did or maybe it was like if it was a series or something like that where you see
Mhm.
this friction between them
Yeah,
during the
and you
initial
know what?
meeting or something like that.
I I bet for people who are fans, I bet that the meeting of them was like that. There was just more time
Mhm.
in the manga and anime for it to be built
Yeah.
upon versus here in the movie. It's like, oh, rich girl, spoiled brat, dumb head. I don't know what the fuck they said to each other.
Yeah,
You
Olympic language, right?
know? Sorry, yeah, dummy head. Oh, that's what it's. But yeah, like
But
I
yeah,
don't know,
so
but yeah,
they meet. Yeah, so like Sienna meets Seiya, and he's very, he's hearing these stories about Athena and the Pegasus Night, the War of the Gods, and he's just not believing any of it.
Hmm.
He does get the necklace, the medallion from his sister, which we learn holds the armor for the Pegasus Knight that he needs to
Hmm.
somehow unlock. And then they have breakfast, and then, obviously there's a back and forth between them, learning about. You see, say as since he was an orphan, he
Hmm.
doesn't have manners at the table, but it's because of the fact that if you don't know when your next meal is coming, you learn to fill up whenever you can, type of thing.
Yeah.
And then as this is happening, you see Garad has arrived
Hmm.
at the underground fighting ring. She's upset with Cassios because he wasn't able to capture Seiya. So because of the fact that they know that he is the Pegasus Knight, and they don't want
Hmm.
him to come to power because he is the only thing stopping them from their plans. Then we get Cassios fighting some of Garad's guards who have this armor on, and he's
Yeah.
getting his ass kicked. But you see this. I don't know if it's arrogance. I don't know if it's determination, but he just refuses to quit. And so
Oh, so
they
when it's so when it's Seiya who refuses to quit, you applaud it. But when Cassius refuses to quit, you say it's bad or arrogant. Wow, Michael. Wow.
there's an arrogance to Cassius. I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, but shut up.
Cassius is a very determined
Yeah. So,
individual who's trying to do what's right. All right, that's for him.
but yeah. So as Cassius is fighting Garad's guards, she sees that he might be a good candidate, and she talks to her second in command that we see that's there named Nero.
Pretty boy.
That he might be perfect. Cassius might be perfect for the prototype armor, because as we learned, Garad is Almond's ex-wife.
Hmm.
She used the power of the Golden Knight's armor to create technology that the world has never seen. So that's why you see the armor that her guards are wearing is basically impenetrable because of the fact that it all comes from technology created by the Golden Knight's armor.
Yeah.
And then we jump back to Sienna and Seiya, and they're having these exchanges about one growing up poor, one growing up feeling trapped in this house. And then we see Sienna have an outburst where you see basically Athena trying to break out of her. So you see this purple energy, this purple aura, and immediately as she has this outburst, the windows close because Garad has a Cosmos detecting software. That's how she found what's his name, sister, and everything. So it's just like they close these. They put these shields down so that Garad is not able to find what's her name, Sienna.
Yeah.
And
You just got to
then as
accept.
Sienna's having, sorry, go
You
ahead.
just got to accept they have a lot of tech here because it's like Garad has Cosmos detecting sensors, Almond has Cosmos detecting
You
houses,
just
and
gotta keep up, my guy. Come on.
keep up. Yeah, whatever.
But sorry. And then so now I think now he's starting to believe that she is Athena.
Yeah.
And so now they're saying that Seiya needs to train with the Eagle Knight, Marlin,
I thought there was a
to
silver.
unlock his.
The Eagle Knight? I thought it was a silver knight.
It says Eagle Knight on IMDb. Sorry, on
Ah,
Google
okay.
Protect.
Cool.
Silver Knight, Eagle Knight. Her name is Marin. I thought it was
Yeah.
Marin.
Yeah. Either way,
He
I
needs
will
to.
say, sorry, either way, because I thought it was Silver Knight, that didn't make sense to me because silver's not a mythological creature like a Pegasus or other mythological creatures. An eagle is also not a mythological creature. So, like, either way, we
I
want.
feel like eagles combine into something else to make something else
Okay.
in mythology.
Eagles! And they just.
It's real. What is it, Voltron? Like where
Yeah,
like you get an
Voltron.
eagle, you get a lion, you get a bit of a goat. Like,
What do they become? The Manticore! I don't know, whatever.
but yeah. So Seiya needs to now train with Marin to unlock his cosmos and unlock the armor from the medallion, so that he can protect Sienna. And so we get a bit of a very first. What's his name? Malak flies him to Marin's island, but he won't drop him off at the top of the mountain. He needs to climb the mountain himself. That is his first test.
Yeah, but
And
Sienna
then
packs him a lunch. It was so because I want to just touch on that, and also like again, but Sienna packs him a lunch out of nowhere, and it's like that's not like you. So like out of all these weird interactions we've had, we're just now all of a sudden supposed to be like yes, and they like each other kind of. I'm like that's what you got from these interactions, like them being this like whatever. Yeah. But yes,
so yeah, Seiya climbs the mountain, meets Marin, and she
Drops the
immediately
lunch.
jumps off. Yeah, he drops a lunch, which I don't know what he was eating this time. Those pudding cups just went to waste. But so,
Yeah, snack packs.
so we start his training where first Marin doesn't believe that he is a Pegasus Knight, so he gets a test where he needs to break a rock, just a I guess a hand-sized rock, and he says that it's impossible. She does it with no issue because of the fact that she's in control of her cosmos, and so that is his test initially, and so you see this little training montage of him learning to tap into his cosmos, but he is kind of blocked by visions of his sister, right? So Seiya is training, so we get that. We can literally just jump through that. That's fine. Back on Garad's side, you find out that the bodyguard Jakai was actually captured by Garad's men and being interrogated because they cannot find the location of Seiya and Almond because of the island that he's on and the parameters that he's put up to protect her. Yeah. And so they are interrogating Jakai. Most random methods don't work, and then you see that Nero does have some type of power. And so he walks up to a chained up Jakai and he says, "Big man like you probably is afraid of something. Let's find out what that is." And so he taps him on the forehead, and you see a glimpse of Jakai's greatest fear, which was it a millipede or something like that? I couldn't really tell.
I
It
kind
was
of
very dark.
I kind of zoned out during this part. I'm not gonna like this whole middle section. I'm like,
It was just like a what is it, a kaiju millipede or some shit like that. Which I can't talk shit because I don't fuck with spiders. So if I saw a kaiju spider, that's why I don't fuck with Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Okay, as soon as Harry and Ron went to the fucking woods, I was like, we good. Like I don't fuck with spiders. I'm alright. So I was gonna talk shit about Jakai, but I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
The more legs, no thank you.
fair.
But yeah, so basically through this scene, we find out that one, Nero is working on a machine to extract the cosmos from Sienna, and then we also find out that through Nero's interrogation with Jakai the bodyguard, that they know know the location of the island, and that they're on their way to get Sienna. And so during this, like as they're on their way, what's his name? Seiya finally unlocks the power of the medallion. He sort of. So he doesn't fully unlock the armor, but he unlocks parts of it. But as he's unlocking it, he taps into visions, and he taps into the vision from the beginning of the film, where he was hiding in the closet as his sister was being taken, and he sees that his sister was taken by Garad and her warriors, but that also Almond was there. And I think he looked into the closet. I think saw, what's his name? Saw Seiya, but didn't say anything. So now Seiya's like, I don't want anything to do with this. You were there when my sister was taken. And I'm just like, in my mind, as a moviegoer that's seen thousands of movies at this point,
Yeah.
that man gave you the necklace that your sister was wearing. Where the fuck do you think you got it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean,
I think this is like the emotional beats of the quote unquote drama of this film was just like kind of forced.
Yeah.
Because it was like, yes, he said that was my ex-wife. Do you not think I was with her while she was doing this shit? Like, what's going on here?
Involved? Yeah. Oh, that
So
reminds
dumb.
me too. Yeah. So that reminds me too, or just in general, and this was somewhat redeeming a little bit of Garad's character. She at this point in time, we know why she's doing this because she believes Athena.
Oh no, it's coming up. It's coming up.
Is it coming up? Oh, okay, got you. I thought this was right here. Yeah.
So basically, sorry, no, I'll just rush to it. Like I said, this movie's not that deep.
Yeah.
So,
stuff happens. Yeah.
yeah, he stops his training because of the fact that he's angry at Almond for being there when his sister was taken. So he goes back to the island. he wants to, he wants Almond to explain himself. Sienna intervenes and they ride off. And Mylok is like, you can't leave, but he does nothing to stop her. She hops on a motorcycle with
Yeah.
Seiya, and they drive off. And she explains what happened to his sister. So basically, when,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, like you were saying, when Sienna was a child, her mother was holding her, Garad, and she had another outburst from Athena, and that
Mm.
outburst was so strong that it took Garad's arms, and Almond used the tech from the Golden Knight's armor
Yeah.
to save his wife. But the only way that she could survive is if she drained Cosmos from people that had strong readings of Cosmos. So that's why she has that tech that scans the world for any high readings of Cosmos, because she needs that Cosmos to survive, because her arms are all metallic. They're not going.
Well, I was just saying, yeah. So with that too, and like while this training is going on, I remember when we flashed to Nero and there was the torture scene and whatnot. Garad was like sucking Cosmo out of some random dude on a table. And
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
like,
So she's hooked up to a machine, and there's
yeah,
a person there that's being drained of their Cosmos. So
yeah.
yeah,
So
so
that,
that's the reason why.
yeah, I'm gonna kind of go through. So like that happened, and then again, this it all kind of was like ugh. Cassius. We see that he's
Hmm.
also like a cyborg, and they didn't fully tell him he was going to be a cyborg, but he was like,
Yeah,
"I'll do it because I get to kill Seiya. That's all I care about." Which I don't understand why he cares that much. The dude just fought you in a
yeah.
cage. Like, cool, whatever, man. Live your life.
And you won.
Yeah, and you won. Yeah, you beat him until he cheated with superpowers. Like, you won, dude. You're good. And then what else? And then yeah, so then because I do remember, like, yes, that happened with Athena or Sienna telling that, but then also when Nira and Garad were talking, because I had a note on it, I was like, oh yeah, so she thinks that Athena's going to destroy the world, so that's why she's doing this. Because I
Yes.
was like,
Hmm.
oh, so she thinks she's the good guy here. Because like you, and this was
Yeah.
the one. This was a redeeming thing about this movie, and with this whole was like plot wise, I enjoy when you have different factions going against each other, but both factions truly think that they're doing the right thing for humanity. Versus sometimes in
Yeah.
movies like this, you get like, I'm the bad guy who wants to enslave everybody. And they're like, no, you're clearly a bad
Yeah.
guy. Versus Garad's like,
Mhm.
okay, yes, I'm doing bad things, but I'm doing it because in the
For the
long
greater
term,
good.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
So that was like, I was like, oh, that's a little more interesting from that. Like, there you
Hmm.
go. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
So yes. So now we hear the backstory on Garad
Mhm.
and her arms, and we find out, excuse me, that Garad is approaching the island because they've interrogated the bodyguard. They know where it is. They're coming to collect Sienna.
Yep.
And right before Sienna and Seiya head back to the mansion to fight off Garad, she says that she's had visions, because there was another there was another scene
Hmm.
where Sienna has an outburst while she's asleep, and she
Yeah.
sees Athena basically in her full form, and she sees nothing but destruction. And I think
Yeah.
that's also what Garad saw when she was
Mhm.
holding Sienna when she was a baby. She just
Yeah.
sees Athena destroying the world. So that is her motivation to stop Sienna. Even though, and it was like, you get to this exchange in a minute where just like Garad and what's his name, Almond, agreed that if Sienna was going to turn out evil, that they would take her out once
Yeah.
again for the greater good.
Hmm.
And so Sienna asks Seiya, even though he's the Pegasus Knight is supposed to be her protector, she says, if you see Athena, becoming too destructive, be strong enough to take me out.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that I don't want to be the reason that the world doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
But to that, I
and s-
say, how, Sway? How? like, like, I,
he said, "Look, I don't know. That's your task, okay? That I just requested. You do it."
yeah.
But anyway, so Sienna and Seiya ride back to the mansion while Cassios and his men, now that he has the armor on, they take out most of the guards in the house. Um, what's his name? Almond, realizing that he's probably going to be defeated, he activates a bomb that he has in his office, because of the fact that if anything, he'll literally scorch earth to protect his daughter.
Hmm.
And so he activates the bomb. He has the trigger in his hand. He's just waiting to blow it up. And so, what's her name? Garad and Cassios enter his office and they have an exchange, and this is where you get the exchange between the parents, where we find out. I mean, we already kind of knew this in the film, but it was just like he saved her life by using the Gold Knight's armor, and that's why they were kidnapping children, basically to to keep his wife alive. And he attempts to, and also like that's why he ran away with Sienna, because of the fact that he knew that the Garage was going to kill her, and she's like, that's what we agreed to, because of the visions that she saw. And so he attempts to blow up the mansion, but he's stopped by Cassius. Cassius stomps on the trigger, and so and then beats him up a bit. So Allman is out of the picture, and then we see Sienna and Seiya arrive to the mansion. Mylock is also fighting a few guards in the airplane hangar, trying to get to the aircraft so they can escape. And it was a cool scene where just like you have Seiya, kind of tapping into his powers a bit to fight off the guards. You have Mylock, who obviously doesn't have any armor or anything like that, but he knows what these guards are capable of. So he has a gun that can incapacitate them a bit. Won't take them out, but he can incapacitate them. So he's fighting 4 guards. And it was funny. It must have been a quick running gag, but he shot one guy in the face. The guy goes down.
Yeah.
And then eventually he wakes up and he gets shot in the face again, and he goes down.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up again and gets shot in the face. Like, it was a little bit of a comedy there. So like Mylock fights off the guards to get to the ship. He flies off so he can collect the rest of them. And Seiya, he fights off guards to protect Sienna, but he has a one-on-one with Cassius now with the armor on, and he just cannot defeat Cassius.
Yeah.
And so because he renounced the armor and the Pegasus Knight and all that stuff, it won't activate for him. And so Garad goes to talk some sense into Allman one last time, but he's like, "Look, I will kill everybody to protect
I'll kill everyone. I'll kill us all."
And in Sean Bean true fashion, he sets off the bomb that kills literally no one.
Yeah.
Garad escapes into her aircraft. The mansion blows up. It knocks back some of the guards. It knocks back Seiya. And when Seiya is waking up after the mansion has exploded, he sees Sienna being dragged off by the Garad's guards. So she's taken off. But we do know that Mylock has survived.
Yeah.
So Mylock collects what's his name? Seiya, and it was like, what are we gonna do? And like he feels defeated, and so he finally taps into his cosmos. He's hearing words from his mentor Marin, who was saying that, kind of asking his purpose earlier during the training, and he was saying that his purpose was to find his sister. And she said something that was very interesting. She said that obsession often gets mistaken for purpose. And so like he's saying that like his purpose was to find his sister. His purpose is, or maybe his purpose is to protect Athena. But his real purpose, when he looked inside himself, it was to forgive himself for not protecting his sister when she got taken. Like that is, and it was, I think that was an interesting, but it's very anime, but it's a very interesting thing where it's just like, just forgive yourself. Like you were a child. What were you going to actually do? I think that's what always pisses me off about moments like that, especially like when kids, blame themselves for something happening. It was like, you're an adult now. Take a step back. What have you as a child done?
Yeah.
To fix that situation? Like really think about it. But yeah, so he forgives himself, and because he forgives himself, he finally unlocks the armor, the full armor of the Pegasus Knight, and he decides that he's going. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, really, so I'm glad Marin helped him do this, the Silver Knight, Eagle Knight, etc. But where was she, like, this entire time otherwise?
You realize, like, he had to take a flight to get to her. She can't just walk around the island.
Okay, right? Yeah, whatever.
Why are you bringing logic into this? How dare you?
I'm just saying, like it's like you think if she's a Knight of Athena, she'd want to be there to potentially help protect Athena? No, okay, no.
I don't know. You're not making any sense, guy.
That's on me. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
That's your. I mean, once again. But yeah, so Seiya finally unlocks the Knight of the Pegasus, the armor of the Knight of the Pegasus, and he decides he wants to go and save Sienna. And then we flash to Gorad's compound, and they've shackled Sienna to this machine that's going to extract her cosmos. Because if she doesn't have the cosmos, she can't become Athena. Athena can't come to power, can't destroy the world. And so she goes to her before the machine gets turned on, and she says, once again, I truly believe that I'm doing the right thing, but that doesn't make it any easier. And I think that goes to what you're saying, like kind of building this character where I'm not just evil, you know,
That was
even
one
though
of the
you
best
are
parts.
doing something. Yeah. I agree.
That was for me. That was one of the best parts of the movie. Of like, okay, this is like an actually somewhat redeeming thing that she's doing right now. Or like,
Yeah.
I think
And
not
so,
redeeming thing she's doing, redeeming to the movie itself because it was like, okay, that's like a heartfelt
yeah.
moment. That was good in the movie. But yeah,
Yeah, so Nero turns on the machine, and it. Oh, the one thing Homegirl asked, Sienna asked, was like, because she even accepts it, right? Because of the fact that Sienna saw that vision, excuse me,
yeah,
of Athena kind of destroying the world. She was just like, "Will it hurt?"
yeah.
And Garai goes, I don't know." And then they turn on the machine, and you see immediately like extracting cosmos from somebody
Yes, it does.
is painful.
Yeah,
And so what's his name? The Pegasus Knight is on his way, and as he's on his way, you do see Garad kind of her motherly instinct kicking in, maybe doubting her purpose or her vision of this, and also that's her daughter. So just like she wants Nero to turn it off, and he's like, no, like once we're rid of this, we'll be rid of all gods. We don't need them. And then so she calls her guards to stop him, and
yeah,
she walks away, and you get this reveal that he is not like his power comes from the fact that he is also a knight of the Zodiac. He is the Phoenix Knight, and he fights off her guards, and then she goes to fight him, and she also gets defeated.
yeah.
And
So
right
why is
before he also, I don't once again they didn't
why
back
is
it
he
up.
bad? Like if he's a Phoenix Knight, a Knight of Athena, why is he bad? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Right? You know what I mean?
I
Like I
don't know.
just
I
okay,
feel like that's
okay.
sequel stuff. Just I'm
Yeah.
only in the right now. I'm not in the after. I'm in the before.
Yeah.
So as as the Phoenix Knight defeats Garad, we see that this extraction is almost complete. And finally, the Pegasus Knight arrives. Seiya arrives. He takes out Garad's guards easily. Cassios comes because they're gonna have this big showdown, but literally it was nothing. He immediately defeats
Yep.
Cassios with no problem, and then you see Seiya enters the chamber where the machine is, and he has to now he's trying to stop the machine, but immediately gets stopped by the Phoenix Knight. And so this is where some of the CGI gets really really bad. It gets real
Yeah.
Marvel where it's just like they kept taking off a mask and stuff like that. It was like, we know who you are, we good. Like I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
Yeah.
Like I can follow red and blue. Like I'm really good,
Yeah.
my God. And so like there's a fight scene between them, and just like it's every Marvel climactic scene where it's strong versus Stain. Um,
Yep.
but
Big energy, big.
while they're fighting, yeah, while the Phoenix Knight and the Pegasus Knight are fighting, Garad recovers a bit where she's strong enough to unplug the machine to disable it and kind of stop this procedure of the drain. And as she stops it, you see that Athena arises out of Sienna. And so the Phoenix Knight sees this, and he's like, "We need to stop her because before she becomes too powerful, and she'll destroy all of us." And he immediately gets taken out. The Pegasus Knight goes to Athena and tries to appeal to Sienna's side, and Sienna's like, I can only hold her back for so long. I need you to do what you promised. I need you to take me out so that she doesn't destroy the world." And he says to her instead, that nobody's destiny is written, not even yours, because early in the movie, he had said that she had said that to him, that nobody's destiny is written, and he
Yeah.
replied, except for yours, because of the fact that she was destined to become Athena. And somehow this works. Once again, I think this is what pissed me. This is very, very much anime, where it's the power of
Yeah.
friendship just
You're like,
defeats all.
oh, okay, yay. Yeah.
And so Cian is able to control Athena. They wake up, and it is like the mansion is very much destroyed, but the world is still intact.
Yeah.
Sienna, with her new Athena powers, goes to her mother Garad and heals her arms.
Hmm.
And then we see that Mylok is also still alive.
Yep.
He comes to pick them up, and Sienna goes to Seiya that now that Athena has awoken, the other gods
Hmm.
will come to, to start a war, and so they
Yeah.
need to go around the world collecting or finding the other knights of the Zodiac to protect the human race. But before they do that, Sienna says that they're going to go find Seiya's sister.
Yeah.
And then we also see, not in the final scene, but we also see that the Phoenix Knight Nero is also still alive. So it's like a
Hmm.
lot of sequel bait in these last 10 minutes. Sorry, last
Yeah.
5 minutes of the film. And that's how the movie ends.
Woo! Yeah, so what we like to do whenever a movie ends is we like to revisit our initial reviews and then see if anything changed as we're talking about it. So, Mike, did anything change for you? What's your rating?
Nope, 1.5. I'm
One and a
keeping
half.
it
Yeah.
there.
I'm sticking with the one. Yeah, it's you know what I think part of it might have been too is it seemed like almost they were trying to build a sequel before they even made sure they had a good first movie, which happens
Exactly.
so often with writers and studios. Just focus on making a good movie for like yes, if you know what you want to do next, great, that's fine. But like just really try and focus on making a good movie first.
That is normally my opinion when it comes to films. Like, stop trying to build a
Hmm.
universe. Just start with a good film and then
Yeah.
see how it does. But I think with the fact that this is an animated, this is a manga that has so much. Right? I mean, how often are people doing original actual ideas, original
Yeah.
stories? So I think because of the fact that they have so much lore to this, they was just like, even if it doesn't do well, we're gonna film a sequel. Who gives a shit? This will all be
I
solved
mean,
in number 4, or number 5.
yeah, $60
I
million
mean, you're
dollar
right,
budget.
Dragon
They've
Ball
made 4.5 million. Oh.
today.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll
fair,
see.
fair. Yeah, man, it was rough, but what are you gonna do? But thank you everyone so much for listening. We appreciate you greatly. We will be back next week. If you would like to reach out to the collective, our pod, you can find us at two meddling kids on Twitter and Instagram, or at two meddling kids at gmail.com if you want to shoot us an email. And then, Mike, how can they find you?
On Instagram at Days from Legendary.
Beautiful. And you can find me at EdHunt77 on Twitter and Instagram. And I also have a new Instagram at hunt.comics. So we'd love to see you there. But cool. Again, everybody, thank you so much. We'll be back next week. Have a good one.
Bye.